people of the internet, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be crafting something very exciting. If you can't already tell by my jack-o'-lantern layout, I am going to be creating some Halloween costumes for my BT21 plushies. Halloween is super close and I thought that this would be a perfect video to do and kind of show my crafty side. This is also a part 1 out of 2 videos that I'm going to be uploading. Part 2 should already be up by now, so after you watch this video you can head on over to that one to watch the rest of the members' costumes. These costumes are not going to be your traditional costumes though, because I didn't buy fabric. Now you might be thinking, okay, wait, how are you gonna make Halloween costumes without fabric? Well, I thought many people might not have fabric or want to buy fabric or can buy fabric. So instead, we're gonna be making these costumes on a budget without fabric. So I hope you guys enjoy and let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first BT21 member I'm going to make a costume for is Cooky. So what I'm thinking for Cooky is I'm going to make him a little Frankenstein's monster costume. So the materials that you will need is any colored paper, glue or tape, scissors, a pencil, and a Sharpie. So to make Cooky's Frankenstein costume, I'm really only going to use a classic green color to make the costume. So to make Cooky's costume, I'm basically going to be making pockets to go over his ears, to go over his hands, to go over his legs. And I'm basically going to make the pockets out of this green paper, slide it over his ear, and it's going to make it look like his body's made out of different materials or it was sewed together. So it's hard to explain, but you'll see what I mean once we actually get started. So I'm going to take a pencil, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace Cooky's ear. Okay, so now that I've cut out my first little pocket, you'll notice that I made it a lot bigger than Cooky's actual ear, and that's because I need to think about this measurement right here and this measurement here and the top. I want it to be able to slip in and out of Cooky's ear, and I also need to think of like this. See? I pinch it together and it's just the perfect length. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to first glue, or you can also tape these two sides together. I'm gonna use tape. I'm not too concerned about it looking a little wonky with the tape because Frankenstein's not supposed to look perfect. This can be a taped Frankenstein. I'm going to slip this on. I'll pinch it together. Okay, like that. And there we go. So now we kind of have the base of the pocket. I'm just going to add a little more tape on the sides and then we can get on to the next step. Okay, now that I've added a little more tape, we're moving on to the next step. I don't want Cooky's ear to actually be this long. So what I'm gonna do is, Cooky's ear only comes up to a certain point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my fingers and just pinch the paper up to that point. And it should make a little groove there. And I'm gonna take Cooky's pocket out and I'm going to cut it. Yes, okay. And you want to leave just enough space so that you can pinch the top part closed. So I'm going to take more tape and I'm just going to tape everything closed. Okay, so now that everything is taped, the pocket is complete. As you can see, there's a pink part of Cooky's ear and then there's a white part of Cooky's ear. So I'm just gonna take like a marker or a lighter colored pencil and I'm just going to draw on to the pocket because after all, it's paper and it's flat. Okay, so it's not showing up on camera, but there is a very distinguishable difference between these two greens. I'm gonna slip it over Cooky's ear. Ta-da! and it makes it look like he's got a kind of a different ear. So now I'm going to repeat the same process to make one for his arm, and then I'm gonna make kind of like pants for his body. Another thing you can do to make this more like Frankenstein, you can take any marker or pen and you can draw anywhere or on the sides. I'm gonna maybe do back here. You can draw a little line and some stitches just to make it a little more convincing or Frankenstein-ish. I'm gonna draw one right here. There we go. Okay, so that's another thing that you can do to make your little Frankenstein costume. So now I'm just moving on to do the arm pockets and the leg pockets. Okay, so I finished making everything, and here is the reveal of Cooky. Oh my goodness. I'm very proud. It took a lot of taping, a lot of measuring, a lot of cutting, but I am proud. I really do like how he came out. Originally, I was gonna make the whole bottom half of his body kind of Frankenstein-y, but then I just decided to not. And I just made one of his legs green. So here is Cooky all Halloween ready. I really do like how once it's Halloween I can just boop and boop and boop, and it's just regular Cooky. And then when Halloween season is back, I can just slip all these on and like that. So that is it for Cooky's costume, and now we are going to move on to the next member. So the next BT21 member to get a Halloween costume is my jumbo Koya. Koya is very big, as you can see, and the costume that I am going to make for Koya is a mummy. I thought that this would be a very cute idea because Koya is always very sleepy and always looks like he's sleeping. So if I wrap him up like a mummy and leave room for his eyes, nose, and mouth, it can look like he's wrapped up in a bunch of blankets that have been ripped up into strips. I just thought that Koya as a mummy would be very cute. So to make Koya's outfit, we're upgrading from paper, we're going to tissue. Of course, you can always substitute the tissue for like blank white sheet of paper. So I'm just using tissue because it's softer and it's much more flexible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a bunch of strips and I will continue from there. So I cut out a bunch of little strips of tissue, and oops, sorry, Koya. They're all kind of, they're not perfect, they're all kind of different lengths, and they're also kind of falling apart, as you can see what happened with this one. Trying to put it back together. So what I'm gonna do from here, oh, and you can also use paper towels or actual cloth for this. Just anything will work, you do you. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to take one strip of tissue, line these two lengths up, and I'm gonna take some tape. And I'm gonna glue them or tape them together so that they create a longer strip. And I'm going to continue to make one really long strip so that I can wrap Koya with the tissue. I would definitely recommend a paper towel over tissues because the tissues fall apart. So yeah, paper towel would definitely be my recommendation. Okay, so now my super long strip of mummy linen is done, and now I'm going to start wrapping Koya like a mummy. Okay, so as you can see, I ran out of strips down here for Koya's leg, and I'll finish that up a little later. But for now, I have another thinner but way longer strip of tissue to wrap Koya's head and ears. So I'm just going to wrap them all up. Okay, so Koya is now completely mummified. His face isn't too covered, and I'm honestly fine with that. I didn't have enough tissue to cover him entirely. So overall, to cover this Koya, it took one tissue. Just one tissue. Look at how he turned out. He's so cute. Look at his little ears. So that is Koya's mummy Halloween costume. I definitely do recommend using either paper towel or paper instead of tissue because the tissue easily falls apart, and yeah, that wasn't exactly fun. So I definitely recommend paper towel instead. But that is it for Koya's little Halloween costume. Alright, so the next member to get a costume is Shooky, the little cookie. So for Shooky, I was thinking I could make werewolf Shooky. So to make Shooky's little Halloween werewolf costume, I'm going to make just the ears because I think Shooky is already convincing enough. I mean, Shooky's got like this texture and the color, and I don't think I need to do really much. So I'm just going to create the ears, and to make the ears, I'm going to make little Shooky a headband. To do that, I'm going to take a paper clip, and this one's already kind of bent up. And what I'm going to do with this paper clip is I'm going to start on paper clipping it so that it's just like a straight piece of wire. Okay, so once you've got like kind of a straight little paper clip, I am going to take Shooky, and I'm going to start like kind of bending it to the shape of Shooky's head so that it can act as a headband for Shooky. I want it to be able to stay on Shooky's head without any help from me. So I'm just gonna bend it, or try to bend it. Now, Shooky should have a little headband, see? So Shooky's now got a little headband, and what's gonna go on the headband is little werewolf ears. So to make the werewolf ears, I've got, this almost looks like black, but it is brown paper. And I'm going to draw on some ears, and here you can get a little creative. You can make them really shaggy, you can make them really pointy. It's really up to you. And then cut them out. And I forgot to say that make the ears a little longer than what you want them to be, because what we're gonna do is take one of the ears, I'm gonna wrap and tape it a little bit on the headband, so it's gonna actually become a little shorter. So that's just a little something I forgot to mention. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to place the headband on little Shooky, and then I will tape down the ears. And ta-da! Shooky is now a werewolf. You know, he almost looks like a bat, and then he almost looks like a cat, but then he kind of looks like a werewolf. So I could have made the ears a little better, but I kind of like how they are now. So that is Shooky's very basic werewolf costume. I didn't need to do much, and this headband trick can work for any of the BT21 members, and you can make it a cat, a bat, a werewolf like me. anything you want. And now, well, that is it for part 1 of my BT21 Halloween costume making. Part 2 is up on my channel now, so go check that one out to see the rest of the members. I had a lot of fun making these cute and adorable costumes, and I hope that if you try these out, that you enjoy making them as well. Have a very happy Halloween, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye!